before this conference, and that is template data. Okay, you slightly, yeah, but that's fantastic. Because, you know, one of the main amazing capabilities of MediaWiki is its use of cascading templates, which is something that is quite pertinent to MediaWiki, but it is not, you know, too easy to actually grasp and use. So VisualEditor, of course, adds this WYSIWYG, this amazing WYSIWYG capability, but then how do you deal with cascaded template data, field value pairs? You know, if you hit, for example, Blue Spice had the approach that you put an icon which says this is a template. I wasn't sure whether you could actually edit the template data. Not directly, I think. With an inspector, you see. So it's all these aspects, and then I was wondering, are there best practices? And I think there's an extension called template data that I haven't tried out, I have to admit. I was hoping that maybe Robert would enlighten me with this. Yeah, well, there you go. Perfect. Sorry, that's stupid. Yeah, okay. With that, Robert, please again.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So I have set up my laptop in a different way because this is going to be a more hands-on and I need to type something. In the meantime, I need to use the slides here. So, yeah, this again is the original description of the task. It says, learn how to use template data in order to facilitate using a template through VisualEditor. Okay, so we bundle template data, the template data extension within Blue Spice. And when I saw this description, I actually was pretty happy because I thought, yeah, that's a good opportunity to look into that again and to learn a bit about it. And I did. And I want to show you, first I want to give you basic information on the template data extension and tell you what it does. And then we want to really have a look at it, what it does and what it doesn't do. Because, yeah, you will see. So, all of you know templates in MediaWiki. Templates it's a killer feature. That's the big deal, the big thing in MediaWiki. And using templates is very easy. You can have your wiki text syntax with a key value pairs. You can specify stuff. There are great extensions like page forms that helps you with that. And yeah, but with the upcoming of the VisualEditor, the editing of template key value pairs got a little bit more complicated. So in the old times when you just had the wiki text, okay, you just saw the template and you could fill in the fields. On the other hand, you didn't even know which fields are available. If in question, you had to go to the template page itself and look it up, for example. Now VisualEditor, the WF VisualEditor, is capable of actually showing a preview of a template, which is pretty cool. And you can also edit the parameters through VisualEditor. This is it has an auto detection which shows you all the available parameters, but that's it. Basically, you get some kind of a table where you have on the left side you have got the names of the properties of the parameters, and on the right you have free text fields where you can fill in the value. That's it. Now, to improve that a little bit, people invented template data. Template data allows you to specify which parameters are in a template and give some more information on each of these parameters. How does it work? Template data is a tag extension, so you've got some XML tag that you can put on a template page, a template wiki page, And the content of this XML tag is a JSON formatted schema, where you can specify parameters and all kinds of things. What happens is that this information that you define on the template page itself can be read by VisualEditor. And VisualEditor will then, again, improve the user interface for filling these parameters. So when you, before template data, you just had the plain parameter name in a text field where you could put in the data. With template data, you get a speaking label, a more detailed label, some descriptions. You even get kind of input fields within VisualEditor. It also features an API endpoint that is designed for third-party consumers. Actually, I was not able to find much about this. It looks like there are some gadgets or some bots that actually can read out templates and use the information provided by template data. But that's, yeah, if anybody else can tell me about it, I will be happy, because I couldn't actually figure out what it was good for. Okay, the next one I've already said, we can have params. The params can be described. Nice functionality is that we have a multi-language support for the templates. So I can specify labels in different languages, which is quite nice. I think in page forms this can be done with the Intel parser functions. So page forms could also be multilingual. And you can do a grouping of parameters. So yeah, if you've got multiple parameters that contain to a logical group, you can describe this, and you can give a parameter order. Actually, this is maybe even the besides of the label and the description, this is maybe the most important thing, because before template data, the parameters were just listed as they were defined in the template, which is from a user perspective a very bad way. So how does this look like? Here on the left side you see such a syntax. I have stripped most of it to just show the most important nodes here. And yeah, here we can see the description also. So this description can also be in multiple languages, and the user will see the language that he has. Params, orders, sets. Format is something that I should mention, actually, because as you know, the way that you write a template into a wiki text can be very different. If it is a small template with only a few parameters, and it's maybe even an inline element, then you want to have it in one line. But most templates that we use are in a block level formatted. So they have the template name, they're opening, and then they have a nice line separated key value structure. You can even define a custom format, which you can use for special indenting of the wiki text. But I think that's more of a nice feature, nothing that is really valuable. Yeah. I just said custom format. This is, I'm missing something. Sorry. There's the auto value. That's also nice to have. So if a user does not fill in a value, we can use the auto value field, auto value parameter to generate some value. This could, for example, be a timestamp. Let's say you have a date field and you want to have the current day, you can use the auto value. Okay, so now let's have a look at it. So I have I have set up this little wiki here with a visual editor and the template data extension, of course. And I have created a simple profile template. So if we look at that, it's quite minimalistic. It's a wrapping element, and then I've got a little container and a table that just shows a few things. As you can see, I have fields like an image for this profile, a short description, some title, first name, some mantra, date of birth, and favorite number. Of course, these two are mainly in there to show off certain data types. So now this is the normal template. It does not have the template data set yet. So if I go to some arbitrary page and I'm going to insert a template, for example, simple profile, okay, it shows up here. And I can click Add Template, and in this case, VisualEditor doesn't even doesn't even know which fields are in there. So I can have name, for example, and then put in something like my name, and then I can insert this template. And as you can see, VisualEditor will create a preview right away, so I can really see how this looks like after saving the page. And it also fills in the values that I have. But still, if I'm going to edit, I can just add additional stuff like first name, okay, and then it's here, the robot. Okay, now let's go back to the profile. And when you have template data enabled, you can see there's a manage template data button, and it will bring up this very nice dialog that will help you to write that JSON schema. So you can see here's the multilingual support. You can add languages for the description. This is a simple profile information sheet. I can choose if it should be rendered as a block, for example, or it should be inline. Here you can see the pattern. The spaces are placeholders, or the underscores are placeholders. And you can see here, this is a template name, then a line break, pipe, parameter name, parameter value, line break. And I could even go change this and maybe add spaces here, or whatever I want to do. Here you can see it has a parsing functionality. So it analyzes the current template content, and it sees, okay, there is images, short desk title, first name, month, date of birth, and number. And now I can go and define these parameters. For example, I can have a description, a nice profile, like this. And here you can see this is the list of possible, of available types, a lot of stuff, Boolean, content, file, line, number, and stuff. The type is used for some kind of a validation, of course, when you enter a value, and it should be used for creating a proper user input in an input field. Let's say this is a file, and here I can set this to be required or suggested or whatever. Okay, we're just going to use that, apply. And here you can see what this dialog does. It just puts in this this JSON string with the different nodes. Here's params with the image parameter, the label, description, and type that I have just set, and the other ones are empty. Short desk title, first name, and so on. Down here is the additional information. So let's just save these changes. You can see the output of the tag is it's an overview of the fields that are defined, of the parameters that are defined, and I just need to quickly clear the job queue, because otherwise the data will not show up. If I now reload that page and go to edit, it should give me here. If I now click add more information, it will actually show me the image parameter that I've just described, in addition to the description. And if I have this field, I can look for. It should query. Well, it doesn't do, but it can query for images, for example. Okay, I have prepared a little bit to show off these things. Let's go back to the definition. If I go to edit source, and oh no, it's gone. Why is it gone? Oh shit. Okay, sorry. Unfortunately, my demo content is gone. Too bad. Then I will just redo it. So let's imagine we have date of birth here. With a date, with a label date of birth. We can remove the description and the type date. Okay, and let's do the same for the favorite number. For number, I think it's number. Yeah, that's okay. So when I prepared this talk, I was pretty sure that now that I have defined a date field and a Boolean field and a number field, I would get the proper outputs. So if I reload this, and I can see that. So they are now defined, that's okay, date of birth. And favorite number. And as you can see, okay, the number field obviously works, very nice. But date of birth does not work, even though I have declared it correctly. And when I saw this, I was surprised, and I looked into the code. And actually, it looks like the functionality of template data is pretty limited. So there is no date picker in there. It just is not implemented. I have checked the code. And it has some other strange design decisions. For example, for example, a Boolean field, let's say, where's that? First name. Oh, I don't have a Boolean field. That doesn't matter. So a Boolean field should probably be shown as a checkbox input. This is not the case. Actually, it will just show a normal text input field, unless you're editing an existing template with a value of 0 or 1, which is I actually don't understand why this extension does not show a proper input on creation, on inserting. That's very strange. So, as I said, I have looked into the code and it's just actually missing. I was looking if I did something wrong in the definition or something. No, these functionalities are just missing. I have then, so basically that's all that you can say about template data. And I have then, after I saw these missing features on the extension, I've been looking around about alternatives or maybe extensions. My thought was, okay, maybe it's just not that much implemented, but maybe somebody else has extended this code somehow. And I didn't find anything. So I looked into the code another time and checked if there was any way to extend that code. Because, hey, just because it's not there, that doesn't mean that it's that this is the last word. Yeah, somebody could come along and just implement a few things. But unfortunately, the template data extension is not even extendable in any ways. I don't want to say I've never seen that, but it's very rarely that I see some code that is not extendable in any way. But I still want to show you a few things I think that are worth of showing. So template data, you already saw the basic things. You can define a schema, you can define fields, but even if you define the field, even if you define the types, you will not get proper inputs. I then looked around and found another extension. That's, by the way, that's the reason why I renamed this talk to be Template Data and Friends. And I found an extension that is called Template Wizard. And strange thing is, Template Wizard only works in wiki text editor. It does not work in VisualEditor. But if we look at it, let's say this one. Here we got a new button in the classic wiki text editor. It also uses the data from template data, of course. And here we actually have a data input. I have no idea why this isn't implemented in the basic extension. But this tool that is unfortunately only available for wiki text edits, this tool actually respects a lot more of the fields. So if anybody of you likes the idea of template data but doesn't have a visual editor, this might still be a nice tool to use with. Okay. So this code changes. Okay, so we found that template data itself is pretty limited in conjunction with VisualEditor, but there is a nice alternative for wiki text, which also works. And then there is a third extension that I think will be valuable to you guys. That is template styles. I'm not sure if everybody has heard of it. Template styles allows you to define CSS stylings for a particular template. Before template styles was available, you had to do your stylings, for example, in MediaWiki Common CSS in a central place, where you wanted to you defined all the classes and stuff like this. With the template styles, with the template styles extension, you're able to add a template styles tag to any template that you want, or actually probably to any page, and you can specify another file. You can specify a page. For example, I'm using this sub page here. What's that? Action, where's action? Actually, I don't need that anymore. Oh, sorry. That's of course because I have disabled VisualEditor to show the template wizard. Okay, now save this. Re-enable this one. So here you can see it just gives me a warning that says, okay, the page that I have referenced does not exist, template simple profile /styles.css. And now here you can add some arbitrary CSS. Okay, let's just have some CSS. And if I go back, you can now see this style is embedded within the template. This also works, of course, in VisualEditor. So if I reload that and switch to visual editing, you can see this style is now directly applied in VisualEditor also. And that's actually some quite nice feature, because you can keep things in more or less one place. You can better separate the stylings for certain templates. You do not need to blow up your MediaWiki Common CSS and put all the stylings for all your templates in there, but you can specify them together with the template. Okay, so to come back to my presentation here, well, on the one hand, it's a really cool extension, because it's a WMF extension. It is properly reviewed, and it very well integrates into VisualEditor. Has the multi-language support, and is very convenient for the user, because it's a nice dialogue where you can edit and right away see the changes on the template. But to be honest, I've been very disappointed after looking into it deeper because it has had a lot of issues, like no real validation. I didn't show that, but even if you put some string into a date field, it will just save. It will, or even if you do not add a required field, it will tell you that you are not having a required field, but it will still save. So there's no real validation of inputs, and what I am really missing most is the lack of, or what I'm concerned of most is the lack of input fields. There's not even simple things like a drop down where you can have select options or something like that. Nothing's in there. Additionally to that, on the one hand, it's cool because you have a structured schema. On the other hand, you do not have a free form layout like you would have in page forms, for example, where you can arrange fields the way you want. And last but not least, and that's really something that I found to be a bad thing, it has absolutely no extendability. Even if somebody wanted to improve that, he wouldn't have a chance to do this properly. So, exactly, what else is there? Template styles and templates wizard, I showed that too. I think at least template styles is a really good addition to templates. And template wizard, yeah, if anybody still uses plain wiki text, it is still a very good tool to help people inserting templates, of course. And yeah, I've put together some resources, and yeah, that's it so far. Thank you very much.
I think I can shed some light on why template data and VisualEditor work as strangely as they do. It's a deliberate design decision because template data and VisualEditor were designed for use on Wikipedia, and on Wikipedia, a lot of template values get themselves generated via a template, even if it's something as simple as a Boolean value.
Okay.
So yeah, if they put in any kind of validation or special inputs, it would eliminate the possibility of using a template call to put in create a date or whatever it is.
Yes, but actually, if I don't have input fields, then this renders the tool pretty useless.
Sure, yeah, it doesn't explain why they bothered with types in the first place.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, I think it would be great if they had some. This is not Wikipedia setting.
I think you could do both. You could show the checkbox by default if you're inserting, and you could have a little button that turns that into a text field, for example, anything like that.
Yeah, that would work too.
So at least it gives you a little help when you're entering something in the first place.
Yeah, it might be worth talking to the developers. I think it's just I think it's just they're focused on Wikipedia, and so it could be something that just never really came up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone?
So yes, looking at your demonstration about template styles, I was a bit surprised that you could edit as anonymous visitor, because it could be a security issue to edit CSS as anonymous, for example.
Well,
I checked. Probably it could be restricted using MediaWiki. So it's just a remark.
So you're right. Actually, this is due to my setup, probably. I have just configured an OpenWiki, and as you have seen, the CSS that I have defined here was not located in the MediaWiki namespace. So the MediaWiki namespace, for example, is locked down by the edit interface permission by default.
Yeah.
So an anonymous user would never be able to edit this namespace. But for demonstration purposes, I just used the subpage of that template, which is okay. But that, of course, that means that everybody that can edit the template or can edit in the template namespace is also allowed to edit the styling. You can, of course, use either access control tools like lockdown to prevent that, or use the standard page protection mechanism of MediaWiki.
Yeah.
This would also be possible.
Yeah.
Any more questions? No. So thank you very much, Robert.
Welcome.
Pierre from Dokit again. So a much expected talk after what we've seen from Clément yesterday. And we'll stay with VisualEditor for a moment about its image editing capabilities. And then something that I'm personally very fond of, we're going to hear about the experiences and challenges of orchestrating and provisioning wiki farms using Ansible. That's another constant topic at all of our conferences, right? So please. Il faut décharger. C'est mieux de. Ouais. Après, tu mets. Voilà. Et tu sais, attends, regarde, tu vas là. Premièrement ça. Et. Ah, alors.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about first how we plan to automate the deployment of a wiki-farm. So just before, a quick introduction about me. So I'm Pierre Boutet, PHP developer. I come into the MediaWiki world with the creation of Wikifab in 2016. And after that, we create the dokit company in order to provide a Wikifab-like MediaWiki to customers. So in this company, the objective is to host a MediaWiki for anything we want, a MediaWiki with the package that we build for Wikifab. So dokit needs, it's problematic that I think some of you have already met. First, I will plan this is the plan. I will speak about dokit needs, the dokit package that we build, how we design the farm, and that we will do it with Ansible. So dokit needs, we need to host many wikis. We want to have as many clients as possible, so it will be easier for us if it can do it easily. We build a standard MediaWiki package that we implement, where we add some feature to create the dokit package. And we want to allow our customer to customize their wiki. They also will want to set their colors, their logos, enable or disable some features. And we want to automate wiki updates because as we want to have many wikis, we want to keep our package up to date. So we don't want to spend a lot of time each time we have to update all our wikis. So wiki farms. When I started, I put myself some constraint. I want to keep it simple. This is not the most simple country. I want it to be possible to deploy in many infrastructures. I just usually know the LAMP stack with Apache MySQL. So this is where I start, but I don't want to close doors to any more up-to-date structures like virtual hosts, containers, Dockers, etc. And it must be scalable, because I don't know what size will be my company in some years. And cost efficient, because when we started, we don't have a lot of money. And when the dokit package, what is it? It's a MediaWiki. We are mainly based on Semantic MediaWiki with page forms. And we had some extension, translate, visual editors. We build a chameleon-based skin. And we had some extensions that we build ourselves, such as page media gallery, PDF export request. It also has preloaded pages. Don't see everything. We don't see all the slides. No. It also has a list of pages we must be loaded on each wiki that we set up. It essentially are templates for page form, for instance. And we pre-made some local setting files. We load our list of extensions that we want to publish for our customers. And this whole package is built with Composer and a thing to make a beautiful tar files. Just a point about Composer. I had some difficulties at start because, all MediaWiki's extension has not built to be installed with Composer. This is changing right now. This is good. For instance, with Semantic MediaWiki, at start when we install with Composer, we must first install the wiki, then run Composer and install Semantic MediaWiki to make it work. Because when we install with Composer, it has its own autoloader class. So some files were loaded before that we install the extension, and so the database was not ready to run. This has changed with a more recent version, and now we can build a package with Composer and start a new installation of the package with all pre-installed extension. I hope I'm clear so far. After that, we want to design a farm. I searched a little the best way to build a farm. I see some of you already try this. I see some extensions to customize and build other tools. Well, I'm still quite simple about it because, I come from other worlds than MediaWiki. I know that there exist some tools to automate deployments, not only for MediaWiki, but for many tools. So I want to stay most simple possible and use tools already designed to deploy not only a MediaWiki website. So what's a MediaWiki deployment? I will stay. So this is a simple configuration of what we install when we want to host many wikis. The most simple way is to simply install MediaWiki in the directories of the server with one directory for each domain that we want to create. This is quite simple. This is feasible with almost every tools for automate configuration. And but it will be a little heavy to load. We have to deploy a MediaWiki for each repository, and it will take some space disk, and it will be a little long to maintain and update, etc. So I move to another design. The principle is to put the dokit package into one directory, where I can put the different version of my package, which has all the extensions, the MediaWiki files, default local settings files, and also behind on the side we have all the wikis with for each wikis image directories where all the files are uploaded, and the config directories we contain some local settings piece of files for those wikis. And but simply the link is made with a W symlink, which is a symlink to one of the dokit version files. So, in point of view of the Apache server, it's just a simple directory. The host points to the dokit directory, and the link with the config files is just made with a configuration variable. I'm hoping I'm clear so far. So this is a very simple way to host MediaWikis, but it does not provide automatization and etc. So what do we have to do to create a new wiki? Here are all the steps. First, we create the host directory and the config files like I just showed. We add the link to the correct dokit version package. We add the host configuration in the web server. So that means the vhost file to say where is the repository according to the domain name. We create MySQL database and MySQL users, and we initiate the wiki with the install process. For all of the first point, this is common things to do with tools to generate configuration on servers. The last point is a little more tricky. So I'm just looking at the MediaWiki documentation. I see this. I have an install script to set up the wiki. The wiki is simply take into params the database name, database passwords, the type, a password for the administration, language, and this will do what common user will do by the web interface when they install their classic wiki. And after that, we just have to create the local settings files that we normally upload after the process. And in my case, what I add is to run again the PHP maintenance update script, which will install some extensions that were not in the previous step, but which will be added by the local settings files. And the last step, we run a little script from our package, which will set up the pages. It's simply listing a directory or with pages, and create those pages in the MediaWiki instance. So with this script, we can just build up a new MediaWiki with some scripts. So now I want to automatize it. I know about some tools such as Puppet, Chef, and Ansible. Before dokit, I didn't try any of them. So I don't spend a lot of time to try each other, but I stay keeping Ansible because it seems simple to me. It's based on configuration YML files. And most importantly, you don't need to install an agent on each server. So you just have to have an SSH access to the server, and Ansible will be able to install all the process and the scripts you build. So Ansible, what is it? Just host files where we can just list your servers with IP address and eventually configuration, private key, private IP address, etc. And you have playbook files. Playbook files is the configuration you build for your servers. dokit will install Apache, MySQL, MediaWiki, etc. It's in those playbooks that we will define all your servers and infrastructure. And I just put roles here, but where you can build roles to aggregate some tasks into Ansible roles to make it easy to read. So I built two playbooks. The first playbook is wiki-farm. This playbook is made to build a new farm. Now, when you want to build a new farm, that means create servers, you just create, so you have to pay server to a proxy host or have your own or just instantiate the Docker containers. And you will launch this wiki-farm.yml. And this will install a load balancer. So it is a frontal server for we will manage SSL certificate to have HTTPS. And we will redirect every incoming request to the application server. It will set up a database server and the application server with Apache, parseoid service for the VisualEditor, and the dokit package. And I set up a second playbook. This playbook will be launched every time that I want to build a new wiki. So it will just create the MySQL database for this wiki, create the wiki directory, etc., all that I mentioned before, and create Apache VS, call installation script, those I talked about just about update parseoid.yml to enable VisualEditor, and add a supervisor task to run the job scripts in background. So with those two scripts, I can build a new farm and set up a new wiki. And what is great with Ansible is that you can run again the same script with the same params. It will just rerun everything and just do the modification eventually need to be done. So if you want to just update your wiki, go from dokit version 1 to dokit version 2, we'll rerun the script. The script will do the tasks that are missing. For example, see if a directory is missing, it will add them. If it's already here because it was installed in the previous launch, it will not touch it. So with this script, I can install a new wiki or update an existing wiki for adding extension, update MediaWiki package, etc., etc. So here it is about Ansible. I will not dig into more deeply because basically it's a very basic task from Ansible, which is well documented. So just another link, that's how I do to run jobs. And the supervisor is a tool which makes sure that the run jobs is still running. So I launch the jobs with these commands. We would wait for the jobs and stop after 1,000 jobs. And automatically, or if it crashes or if it's reached the 1,000 jobs, its supervisor will run again a new script. This is the end for the first part of this presentation about Ansible. Are there any questions?
How did those local settings.dokit.whatever.php files fit in? You mentioned them at the beginning, but I didn't see them after that.
Yeah, it's simply, well, you know, the local setting.php file. It includes many lines to include Semantic MediaWiki, page forms, and all the extension we were. Instead of just listing all those lines in each local settings file, we just create a small local settings files and we include it into our main local settings file. I started to build it when I first create wiki-farm. When I put it on GitHub, and I want to say, a lot of people say, "Hey, it's cool, very cool, your website. How do I set it up?" And it was much simple for me to just say, keep my package, install it, run the installation, and after just add include local settings.dokit.php at the end of your local setting files. And it will include all of my extension.
Anyone else? Otherwise, please
I
show us the image
next
editing capabilities in VisualEditor.
So now I will talk about annotated image and VisualEditor. It's some kind of link with the presentation we see before from Robert. And let's start about it. And so we build the MediaWiki, which essentially build about step-by-step tutorials. In our step-by-step tutorials, there are images for each step. And we'll often have users adding annotation to the image. Before, there was doing the annotation in Paint, upload it in MediaWiki, insert it in the page. And so we want to change it to allow better modification of those pages to allow contribution, because someone who wants to edit an annotated image but cannot do it because it has to have the source image. So I built this tool. It's simply use image upload on MediaWiki, and we'll add some annotation. You can crop the image, add circle, arrow, text, some bullet points, and just choose the color of your annotation. So it's based on the library called Fabric.js, which will make all the interface. We can just configure it to add button, add the toolbar, which tool we want to insert. You can create your custom forms, circle, cube, add a custom image. This library is able to store data in a JSON object and is able to export image as a SVG file. So I create the extension annotated image. This extension was first built to work with the page forms and Semantic MediaWiki. So it stores information like that, with just step picture is a picture that we want to edit. And so in page form, I simply add small tools to edit the image, and it will add another field. Here, step pictures annotation. So here I just cut it a little to have less information, because in reality it's a little bit longer. And well, annotated data is stored in Semantic MediaWiki like that. But the user don't see this. It's just see the page form field with the icon to edit, and when it edits it, it has a beautiful pop-up that you see just before. And I update it because a lot of users say, yeah, cool, your image, but I would like to insert them also in the standard wiki page. So I create this parsing function, which is basically the same, but it doesn't store information in semantic data, just in a simple call of a parsing function. Where it looks like an insertion of the files with the same parameters at the end, caption, size, etc., but with the JSON data, and the hash is also used, I will talk about it later, to store the image. So basically, integration in VisualEditor. First, I had created the extension V template It was also the same problematic than in the previous presentation. I create this extension not for image at start, but for simple template to add a frame with a beautiful icon. We have a lot of users who want to say, I just want to have a not information in my page, so it's basically a text within a frame with a sign, with a warning sign or something like that. So I look at the documentation in VisualEditor. I have found just piece of JavaScript to add to register a new template. So it defines the template, defines the field in the template, and I found a piece of JavaScript to insert it in the toolbar of VisualEditor. And after that, I want to customize more these templates, and I can change the pop-ups that appear to edit the template information and the value of the information to avoid to have the brute text value, but to have the input that I want to make and that I can customize myself. So after that, I want to have the same thing for annotated image. So I customize a bit more the template. So if you are a VisualEditor window, you can just add a media. And this is what insert. After adding the media, you have the standard edit link and the media when you click on it. But I already changed the model in JavaScript to represent this image to be linked to my pop-up. And when you click to edit, it's a standard pop-up, but that some difference. I just add the edit image in the bottom. So it's inherit the standard image edition pop-up. But you can, by clicking edit, just you arrive on the image edit annotator, and you can edit it. Here you go. You can also crop it, and when you save it, it will just return to the VisualEditor with the saved data as I presented before. Voilà. You want a live demo? Yeah? So. Wait. En anglais. So here is a dokit page. This is a simple page form template, which includes a huge text area field here. And you can just add so here is the V template that I talked just about before. And if we select a media, I can look for an image. This is the same image today. Use this. Oh, what's about the demo effect? Oh, I want to change. I think I'm doing an update recently. Is it gonna work? Oh, no. I don't know what's happening. Here we go. So I just insert the image in VisualEditor. I just can edit it. There are all the standard tools from editing image, and we can annotate image. Just add a square, just move the square and add some bullet points. You can change color, kid blue. So it generates the image, and here is the annotated image. Voila, here's the feature.
If you go to the file page for that image, will you see the previous revision?
No, as well in the file, you just see the original source file, so without the annotation.
Oh,
all the annotation are in the page. In fact, all the annotation, if you turn back into wiki text, you see the ugly text that we saw before with all the information data. So the annotation data is within the page. So the different revision is in the page history.
So you said something about SVG. So basically, you're having the original image within an SVG and just doing the overlay, right?
In fact, it's more complex than that. When you open the editor, it's in JavaScript with HTML5, and I don't know exactly how Framework.js works. But after that, Framework.js provide me this JSON file, which stores data, and it provides SVG image. And with this SVG image, I will generate PNG or JPEG files in the server in the sums directories of the image. So this are the data which are persistent, and the image which is printed, it's originally an SVG file, which is converted to PNG files into the server. And when you look at the page, if I just click Save, it's the image annotated, which is stored in the image directory, in the sum directory. It has, so it's a link to the source image, which is this one. And instead of the standard sum in directory, it generates this sum. Here it's a hash of the annotated data to identify the picture, and after this, it's just the name of the picture annotated.
But you can create rasterized images, PNG images from that, and you could even re-upload the file in the background, so you could actually modify the source file, right?
Yeah, you can modify the source files, and if you edit the image, we'll have the new source files with the old annotation, for example. It's that you want.
I think I understood. Thanks.
Yeah.
So why did you go the PNG way instead of staying in the SVG way? Why isn't the SVG displayed directly in the page?
Just because SVG was less. I built it because the source image, some of us users upload some very huge pictures, and the SVG file includes the source image, which can be a very huge picture. So to make it a smaller image, we generate a PNG or files to avoid to the end user to have to load the whole SVG and the whole source image.
So if I still have the mic, so you cannot annotate the image with links. So you cannot make, let's say, the blue square to be a link that you can click to another page, for example. Something that you could have done with SVG, you cannot do that because of PNG, right?
Well, in fact, you cannot edit the SVG, so you cannot do everything that you can do in the SVG file, because you edit just with our Fabric.js library. So if you can insert the tools that we build, the square, the round, etc. We could imagine to add a link tools, but I didn't build it.
Do you have any more questions?
think this was already asked, but why not overlay the image with SVG? Because you're right, the embedding that ping in an SVG it creates nastiness. So yeah, why not just overlay the SVG on top of the ping?
You mean display the source image and just put the SVG file on top?
And then you could have all the clickability and everything.
On the yeah, it could be a solution. I'll start. I use those functionality to have an overlay. It was not SVG, it was PNG with transparent field with a source image behind. And I have some issue with when we change size of the website, and the overlay was not quite good and just not. I think it's feasible, but it was simpler for me to do that.
Sure.
And
I'm just saying, you take this idea, improve it for the next version.
yeah, thank you.
Anyone else?
Maybe just a quick one, no need to map, or maybe it's more a side question to everyone, not directly related, but do you serve directly SVGs in your wikis inside the HTML? Because in Wikipedia, it's not the case. Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think today it's no more an issue to serve directly SVGs in your HTML. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I mean, the support of SVG is really fine now in browsers, even on mobile.
Anyone else? So Pierre, thank you very, very much.
Thank you for your attention.
Non, non, parce que en fait maintenant c'est les lightning. Ouais, non, c'est bien. Okay, we are now getting to the lightning talks and a quick glimpse at how the Unconference sessions tomorrow would look like. So please, the lightning speakers, can they just come forward? If they could contain themselves to 5 minutes. You can, of course, extend, but the only thing, at 5 o'clock, we will have François Daven talking to us. He's USC's CEO, so I would have to juggle everything around 5 o'clock. So if we need more time here, we would add a talk after François Daven's talk, and otherwise that would be of the day. But so we're fine now. Please, has everyone to the Unconference page now, in Lightning page? I think Carsten did a great job. He actually missed lunch because of that, because by the time he, after fixing that problem, came up, there was no more quiche. Sorry for that, but she'll be back tomorrow. Well, you see, so there it's... Okay, good. Anyway, so das muss dann dein. So. Okay, just make sure this is a lightning talk. We would like to have a little lightning questions afterwards as well.
Thank
so
you.
Just be quick and concise, and then we have the entire day of tomorrow to elaborate on all of this. You have, okay.
So, hello everybody, I'm Maria, and when I arrived yesterday, I don't know that I have a talk today. This year, our company Bitplan is one of the sponsors for this conference, and we are happy with this. It's just like to invite you for a dinner. In the next 6 minutes, I'm going to cover 3 topics. For all 3, I will tell you my own opinions. Our location here is the UIC, the International Federation of Railways. And we are happy that we are here because Wolfgang and we are often travel by train. I have bad knees and I cannot walk properly anymore, but we bought pedelecs. And it helps us to do long bike trips. In the last 2 years, we did more than 500,000 miles by bike. Yes. Our bike tours we have documented on a website. It's called ebike.bitplan.com. At this website, it is a Semantic MediaWiki site. Wolfgang has prepared the template for it, and I love to fill the website with documents and photos. This year, we created a special page of this transporting bikes. As you can see in the different pictures, every country has different standards. In Germany and Czechoslovakia, the transport is most simple and comfortable. In countries like France, things get difficult. In Sweden, it's almost impossible to transport bikes. If the UIC helps improve the situation internationally, then we can visit more places with our bikes. That will be great. Let's continue with the next topic. We have started the hash $11 for climate idea. You will find it on Twitter and GitHub. You need $11. Pick a good organization which is doing something good for climate to get $10. Pick a bad person to get $1. In 2 letters, you send your donation. And a note that you explain why the bad person doesn't get the other $10. For the example, I love the music from Sting. So I liked the start that we sent $10 to the Sting's Rainforest Foundation. The president of Brazil got $1. It feels good to think what the president of Brazil would think about investing $1 for fighting the forest fires. The whole thing is not so much about money, but sending out the 2-sided messages. Some people need to be stopped to do what they are doing now, and other needs support. We want to make sure that our children and grandchildren survive the climate change with an intact planet. Observably, $11 is not much. But with your own ideas, you can also do something. The third and the last topic is marketing. Yesterday, Richard proposed the marketing for Semantic MediaWiki should be profilized. Wolfgang and we have experience with the non-profit organization ISAQB, the International Software Architecture Qualification Board. this organization is very successful since I was founded 10 years ago. Over 1,500 people have gotten an ICAQB certificate in the meantime. By the way, if you like to get one of those certificates, just give me a call and I'll explain you why it is so much fun to attend a course with BuildPlan. From my personal experience, I was secretary of this organization, ISAQB. The score marketing success factor is people. See how the ISAQB is listing its members. It is also planned to have a list of all those 1,500 attendees and make sure the alumni happily promotes the association. For SMW, Wolfgang and I took the same approach. For quite a few years, we made sure that every attendee gets his personal page in the Semantic MediaWiki of SMW. The way word of mouth can be spread. Otto Rehagel, a soccer trainer, once said, "Money doesn't not kick goals." As a fan of Borussia Mönchengladbach, a German soccer team, I can tell you true that it's true. It's not to see Borussia. It's nice to see Borussia playing against Celtic Glasgow. If you want to be successful with a limited budget, it is very important to value volunteer and unpaid work. Of course, investing money still makes sense, but never ever take the approach of a rowboat with only one rower and 8 people shouting comments. Thank you. Ooh.
I think Yaron, you're next.
Okay. Oh. Oh. Okay, hi everyone. One of the wonders of the modern world is everyone can become a journalist. So in early 2018, I decided to create a MediaWiki podcast, which I called Between the Brackets. You can probably guess what that name means, but I'm a fan of podcasts. I listen to some of them, and I thought it would be cool to have a MediaWiki podcast where you could hear interviews with different people from the MediaWiki world. So every 2 weeks, a new episode comes out. We're on episode 43 now. There's another one coming out next week. And it's a mix of users and developers and designers, users being administrators from the MediaWiki community. Some people from a mix of people from Enterprise MediaWiki and the Wikimedia Foundation, yeah, it's just been really fun. It's been great to be able to talk to people. I've mostly known people, the people I interview from the Enterprise MediaWiki community, but the people from the Wikimedia Foundation, a lot of them are new, and it's really nice. It's really a blessing to be able to talk to people like that I've been, just seeing their name and curious about them. It's each episode. If you're interested, you can just search for Between the Brackets. It's betweenthebrackets.libsyn.com. That's a podcasting site. And each episode is about an hour, and we usually get into details, you know, a little bit about the person, how they got involved, and their thoughts about MediaWiki, and a bunch of different things. There's an episode a few months ago with Ari Magnin, who's the organizer. He couldn't be here, but if you want to hear more about the UIC and what they do here, that's a good place to go to. There's at least one. Oh yeah, the episode with Jens Stachan. I'm not going to go through all the episodes, but that he's from SAP, and that was a real scoop. If you want to hear about MediaWiki at SAP, I believe this podcast is the only place you can go to do that, because he's never talked about it publicly other than that. So that was my big journalistic scoop. If you are curious about appearing on the podcast, there's a few people here who have been on already. There's a bunch of other people that are on my big, you know, tentative list of people to interview. But if you want to be on it, feel free to just ask me. There have been a few people who have asked me, and they've all been on the podcast already. So you have a good shot of getting in. I hope you can. I hope you check it out. If it seems like too much, I mean, this is. If you wanted to hear everything at this point, it would take it would take like 40 hours. There's these BTB Digest episodes that come out every once in a while where I put in clips. It's like 20 to 25 minutes. I put in clips of the previous 5 episodes so you can hear just some what I consider the highlights. Feel free to check it out and go through the archives, and I hope you enjoy it.
Yaron, just a question. Can you scroll to episode 37, please?
Okay.
Just, that's a good occasion.
Oh, you don't want episode 32?
No, me, 37.
Okay.
Up. There we go. This is Ari Magnin.
Yeah.
So he's, as I introduced him at the beginning, a UIC manager, director, and actually the driving force behind why we are actually here. So this would be a great opportunity for you to actually hear his reasoning why we ended up here. We will have François Daven, UIC's CEO, here talking to us in 1.5 hours. But still, this is a great opportunity, and thank you, Aaron, for making this available now.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. That was a good talk. We really got into some depth about the railway system in general, and why what the UIC does is so important. And that.
Can you put exactly this link onto the conference page?
Okay.
Ari Magnin's talk, that would be great, because it is one of the background elements why we are here, so that's why I want to promote it that way. Thank you.
Absolutely, cool.
Mark, you're next.
And I'm next after that.
Next again.
Yeah, that'd be good. Thank you. I have to sit down because I don't know what order they are in, but I'm going to show you how last week I used the names. They're hard. What's that template that
Suggest the titles extension.
No, the template.
Maps.
Boilerplate
And examples.
Yeah. So yes, I'm sorry. That was me. Hopefully I can actually. Dang, I forgot. This is a fabric. This is not going to work as smoothly as I thought, because I cannot type here.
Careful. You missed an R there.
And I'm also missing a period.
That period is shift, comma.
Yeah, I got that. Shift, yeah, right there. Fabricator. You can shout at me while I'm typing and say, "You idiot, you erase the O," and anyway. Maybe you can't see that. .com. And we're done typing. Well, if we can. Here we go. Obviously, I'm not a good typist. All right, so we'll go to my fabricator here. See if I can find the, there it is. Suggested title. So, Lex asked about it sometime in the past. It was probably on his chart of things he wants people to talk about. Was how to write an extension from using boilerplate. So here's what I did last week. Let's see. So yeah, first I just copied in boilerplate. There's a copy of boilerplate. Let's see. Yeah, it's just a straight copy of that. The next thing I did was I ran a few commands to modify everywhere it said boilerplate. I actually changed it to caseless titles because that was my first name for the project. No, I'm sorry. The second thing I did was add these, little files here: editor, config, git, ignore, whatnot. And then I switched the, clicked the wrong button. And then I just went through and did a find replace on the whole thing to remove all traces of boilerplate. Let's see, I instead of .markdown, I put a .MediaWiki file in there just because I don't know, I like that. So you can see how I modified really quickly the extension JSON file there. Anyway, yeah, just generic replacements all throughout. Oh, what did I do up here? Oh, this is the log. That's right. I have a log where these are the commands that I typed to get this done. Was initiate and yeah. So let's see. So that it's easy to follow that. I hope it is the log. And then I wrote some initial code. Oh, I had to figure out what order the hooks were being called. I knew kind of what hooks I wanted to use. I just needed to figure out what order they were called. So I put little exceptions on each one and figured out where they were going. So I put a comment in there just so I could keep track of it.
Mark,
yes.
For a lightning talk, we're
okay. Well, I will. But anyway, here's the repository. You can see it. There you go.
Exactly. No, but I understand your message was that this is the boilerplate example.
Yeah.
Constellation. So if you want to create an extension from scratch, this is like a scaffolding, a framework that you can use. And actually, if there are people in here who would be interested in, getting familiar with how to create an extension from scratch, then Mark, you could explain this hands-on tomorrow.
Sure.
During the right.
But I was just pulling it up here. So yes, I'm sorry, I bled into the next person's talk time.
No, that's fine. That's fine. But it's
who is me?
It's yeah. You had a second topic.
So years ago, well, maybe only 3, but anyway, years ago, I talked about MABS at which is multilateral asynchronous bidirectional synchronization of wikis at, say that 5 times fast. And I did that at, in Frankfurt. And since then, because no one's paying me to work on it, progress is slow. But I have Darren Welsh from NASA and I have set up wikis on WMF Labs to start testing the synchronization between the wikis. So that's where we're at right now. And I'm slowly fixing all the bugs that I come across in Git. Git is a very complicated thing. If you ever try to work with it and write a remote for Git, man, it's scary. Anyway, that's all.
Thank you. In fact, I'd like to remind us that there's a lot of people waiting for this functionality of bidirectional synchronization. There's a lot of use cases there. So we can maybe talk about that tomorrow as well.
Yes.
I understand you have...
Is time left?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Just
It will be very quick. So I just wanted to use this chance and announce that we guys from Hallo, Welt, Germany, we create a Blue Spice, the Blue Spice Wikimedia distribution, which is a MediaWiki bundled with more than 100 pre-selected extensions and modern skin. And we have just recently released the version 3.1 of that software. And I just wanted to announce that since yesterday, I believe, we also have a Docker image. So anybody who is familiar with Docker might like that. Let's have a look. So anybody who is interested in Blue Spice in the distribution can now use that very convenient way to try it out. So there's no setup required. You just need Docker installed. Okay, that's the only setup. And after that, you have this simple one-liner here, which will download a package. It's just one file. It will take a few minutes, and it will start the whole application with everything in there, with VisualEditor, with Semantic MediaWiki setup, and Elasticsearch, and all kind of cool stuff. So yeah, that's basically all. I just wanted to tell you, here it is. It's open source. It's free. You can look into how it works, and any feedback that you can give us is highly appreciated. Thank you very much.
Thank you for this, because if any of you here who are into setting up servers, running infrastructure, and you haven't tried out Docker, I think this is the greatest way of trying it out, because it will change your life. Docker, Blue Spice as well, but I was actually referring to Docker this time.
Okay, so I just gonna introduce you in 5 minutes something that we have been working on for like almost a year. It's not entirely released, but we have some clients that are using them. So I'm talking about a web application that we have developed based on MediaWiki APIs and Semantic MediaWiki APIs. So that's the dokit platform of one of our clients. So as you can see, it's a manufacturer company who actually I don't really know what they're doing. It's a machinery builder, and they are using dokit to create their step-by-step instructions that I already probably showed you before. So they use our templates. They annotate some images. They have steps with multiple images, and so on. And as you know, on MediaWiki, it's a bit complex to deal with access control. We don't have a fully waterproof solution, and for some of our clients, it's very important to have a 100% waterproof solution to manage per page access per user. So to do so, we've created a web application, which is exactly the same URL here. Instead of putting wiki here, we write web app. And so maybe I will put it like that. It will make more sense. All right, and I will switch in English language. All right, so this web application is developed in Angular and Ionic, so it's a technology completely different than MediaWiki, but it's a read-only application, so there is no content edited on this web application, but it's linked with the wiki, which is here. So if I edit the wiki, the content will automatically be pushed to the web app. So it's a live application, so I won't edit it. And when I browse the application, I'll see all the categories. So I can scroll like this, and I'll see my manuals, and I'll see two sections, tutorials and pages. So pages are basically the regular MediaWiki page. We just put some styles to show the main picture here, and then you have a regular wiki page with the tables. And also we use Parsoit to convert all of the wiki text into HTML. And what we are very, very proud of is the tutorial skin. So since all our tutorials are semantic based, we could create a template on mobile to then display the content. So that's when you arrive on your tutorial, you have a first page with a title and some semantic properties, and you can start the tutorial. And using your finger, you can swap each step. And if you click on a step, you will find all of the details, including title, description, and the text that is included in the step. Okay, so just to conclude, this app, as I said, is right now it's only read-only, and it will display 100% of the content of the wiki. But our plan is to create an app in between to let an administrator of the wiki choose who can see which page, and so that we will fix the access control issue, but only for reading, of course, not for writing. But it will be enough for our use case at Dokit.
Okay, I have to tell you the virtue of not. Sorry, again. No, the virtue of not cutting people comes at a certain cost, and the cost will be the coffee break, because we are going to reconvene at 4 o'clock sharply, because then we've got 2 talks. Then we have Monsieur. No, in fact, wait. No, it could work. Well, I'll get you when I think you have to come back. Otherwise, and I will add my remarks regarding tomorrow, actually after Monsieur Daven's talk. But Olivier will now explain to some extent what he plans to do tomorrow, so you get an idea of that. And all the rest will be afterwards. Thank you.
So, hello. Okay. So, hello, I'm Olivier. I'm coming from the semantic web domain, so I'm very new in everything about semantic MediaWiki. So if you have tried maybe, or if you have heard about the web of data, of the link data and all that, you might have tried to reach a very big data set that is called DBpedia. And probably if you have tried that, you have been in front of this page, which is basically a hit or miss option. Either you know how to sparkle this endpoint or you don't. And most of people don't. So they consider the web of data to be an obscure think, and probably use less because they don't know how to use it. So my point for the last years, let's say, has been to make tools to visually interact with a web of data, okay? So I've built 2 tools. The first tool is a tool to write Sparkle instead of you. So you interact with the tool and it will create and run the Sparkle queries for you. So you just create categories and you put queries on the right-hand side inside the categories, and then you create the queries visually. So you point at an endpoint, you have the model, and you drag and drop the model inside the big visual area, and you create the query like this. So basically, it's a visual tool to create Sparkle queries and run them and get the results displayed in widgets, but I won't go into detail for that. And the other thing that I've built inside the tool is a HTML templating for the results, okay? So once you have the query structure on the upper left-hand side, you can create templating on top of that. So basically, I had a tool so you don't have to know the details. You just point at an endpoint, you drag and drop, you create your HTML, and that's it. You have everything to visualize data of the link data, okay? So where's page up, page down? It's there. So here are a few queries that I've built. So this is not the point of the presentation. The point of the presentation is just that this tool was never used, neither by the community or by anyone outside the community. So still no one knows exactly what kind of data is hidden in the web of data and all that. It's still something that is very, very difficult to reach. So I've built another tool, and this tool was supposed to be and this other tool was supposed to be even easier to deal with to the web of data, okay? So it presents itself, sorry. I might go directly to the live version, okay? So the live version is search.data.net.
Yeah, you would have another 3 to 4 minutes, if that's okay.
So for example, here you will type in the search engine Tom Cruise, and it will retrieve all the resources Tom Cruise from all the endpoints that are indexed by the tool, okay? We'll go directly to the 4th result, okay? I don't do ranking, so basically the 4th result should have been the first because it comes from DBpedia, and DBpedia is very, very relevant. But let's go to the 4th item, and let's see exactly what kind of graph is inside DBpedia regarding Tom Cruise resource, okay? And you also have a reminder of the previous tool. You also have a HTML template on top of the graph you have seen 2 seconds ago, okay? And you can also browse. Here we are doing semantic browsing, so as you can see here, we are going to this URI that appears in the search bar, and then you can also have a visualization of the graph, and if you want to see the graph, this is a graph of DBpedia that will appear in a second, okay? So that's it. That's how you deal with the tool, okay? And you can have access to all this, and you can follow the links and all that. You can also do a pretty cool thing, that is, if you take this text, and this is a point of my presentation, if you take this text and you search again in the thing, then you go again asking for all the endpoints, for all the resources that contains Empire Expo Center. Okay, so that's the point of the tool. But the tool is not a visual tool. Here is a visualization of the REST service that I provide, okay? So the point of this tool is not to stay on this web page that no one will ever go to, okay? The point is to reuse the web service that is behind this and reuse it in other tools. And that's why I'm here today, because my point, and one of the points of what will be discussed tomorrow, is to see when you are editing a wiki page, which I did for the Unconference, which I did here. And as I told several times during the conference, I'm very newbie with Semantic MediaWiki. So I just type text. There are no links, there are no nothing, just text and carriage return, okay? But I would have loved, for example, when I typed my name, or when I typed link data, or when I typed whatever, SMW, whatever, I would have loved the editor to pop up something and say somewhere in the web of data, in some other Semantic MediaWiki, which are also part of the web of data, I would have loved
a pop-up to tell me there is a resource called Olivier Rossel there and there and there. Maybe you are talking about this, and I could create the link for you. And that's the point of what I would like to develop in the editor. So that's one of the bullets in the presentation of tomorrow, okay? That's my extension, you would say. But for tomorrow, for the full day, I would love everyone here that is interested in the semantic web, link data, extracting data, inputting data into a semantic MediaWiki, interacting between a semantic MediaWiki and external data, especially link data, to join this effort and come with new ideas to build a prototype that is both a semantic MediaWiki and also a member of the link data cloud. That's it. So here are a few points that I've just wrote rapidly. So if you have any comment or any new idea to propose, this is a wiki, so go ahead. And that's it.
Thank you very much. That's a great outlook for tomorrow. So please, let's have a break and let's get back in 15 minutes. And